Hey everyone. So, we already know how many people feel stuck in the limitations of conventional medicine, and that's exactly why I created Holistic Health with Melissa to take you on a journey from conventional to crunchy. Here, you'll get empowering wellness insights, practical tips, and faith centered strategies to help you feel your absolute best. In each episode, we'll dig into what true health and wellness really means. We'll dive into nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, and detox, all things so important to your health. And we'll chat about raising kids with intention and living life of faith. So join me to reclaim your energy, embrace your healthiest life, and find joy and purpose along the way. Hey, ladies. Thank you for being here. I am so excited to dive into today's podcast. But first, I want to grab your full attention really quick because I want to talk about something really exciting that's coming up. If you have been feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, anxious, or you feel like you're just living in constant survival mode, then listen up because this is for you. I am hosting a brand new 3-day mind-body healing workshop. It's unlike anything I've ever done before. This is for you if you're a woman who feels like you've tried everything. You've tried all the supplements, the diets, the therapy, the positive thinking, and you still feel stuck in your stress, stuck in your symptoms, and in a spiral of burnout and survival mode. Over the course of these 3 powerful days, I'm going to teach you the exact nervous system regulation techniques that helped me and hundreds of women like you finally get out of fight or flight, start healing from chronic stress and trauma, and reconnect with our true selves, reclaiming our energy, getting our confidence back, and finally living in alignment with God's calling. You'll learn how to calm your body in real time, release trapped emotions and patterns that are keeping you stuck, release those limiting beliefs that are ruminating in your head, reclaim your energy and your mental clarity, regulate your emotions instead of reacting, rebuild your confidence and self-trust, and start feeling safe in your body again. This isn't just about managing your symptoms, it's about transformation. It's about becoming the woman who no longer feels like she's barely holding it all together. It's about healing at the root of your symptoms so you can finally feel that peace, your power, and your purpose in your everyday life. It's practical, powerful, and it's exactly what your nervous system has been craving. So grab your spot now. The link is in the show notes. There's limited spots available. I cannot wait to walk through this with you. See you there.
I couldn't lose weight no matter, what I did. And everyone was like, work harder, work out more. And when my mom died, it was keep busy. Whatever you do, keep busy. And you know what my body needed? The exact opposite. And it wasn't until I sat my butt down, I meditated, I prayed, I took healing soft walks that all of a sudden my body started releasing. I stopped listening to the noise of what I'm supposed to do out there and really found what my body needed, listened to it, and I started getting the results that I wanted. It's almost that simple.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Holistic Health with Melissa. I am so excited that you are here. I cannot wait to dive into this conversation today. It is going to be a good one, so buckle up. I have Dacia here with me. Dacia's journey has been deeply rooted in faith through seasons of loss, burnout, and personal transformation. She leaned fully on God to guide her steps, both in life and in her work. As a board certified nurse practitioner specializing in functional and integrative health, Dacia believes true healing involves more than protocols. It involves surrender, trust, and grace. She sees the body as a divine creation, intricately designed, and believes our DNA reflects the intentionality of God. In this episode, Dacia will share how Jesus met her in the darkest places, carried her through grief, and helped her rebuild her life and calling. Her story blends science and spirit, offering hope to anyone seeking purpose, healing, and alignment inside and out. Dacia, I am so happy that you are here. I cannot wait to hear more about your story and just like dive into all the things. It's going to be so good.
Thanks, Melissa. I am like super excited to be here.
Yay. Well, we connected like months and months ago, and it has been like in the making for us to connect. Um, Kristen Erickson connected us, didn't she?
Yes, she
Yeah,
did.
that's
Yes, she
so good.
did.
Shout out Kristen. Okay.
Yes.
So good. I cannot wait to just like you have so much wisdom and so much experience, and I can't wait to hear everything that you're gonna just like drop bombs right now. It's gonna be so good.
Well, I'm excited to do it and share it for sure.
Awesome. Well, let's start. Like the first question I always love to ask is just to tell me like some tell our listeners like some about your journey and like how did you end up here?
Well, I think like most nurses, floor nurse, ICU, ER background, wanted a little bit more out of my career. So I decided to become a nurse practitioner. And one of the other reasons why I was deciding to do that was because my husband and I had been trying to have children, and I was told that I would never have babies. And so we had made a decision after several losses and lots of heartache that I was just going to advance in my career and we were going to travel the world and live our best lives without a baby, unfortunately. And lo and behold, I found a functional medicine provider after I quit my job and started a new position and went back to school. And he adjusted things with my thyroid and a little bit with my hormones that conventional doctors had never addressed. And lo and behold, about 3 to 4 months later, I was pregnant again. And with not much hope that I would carry that child to full term, but I have a beautiful 9-year-old, all natural. By the age of 44, I gave birth to a beautiful girl. And so after that, I said, this is what I want to do is functional medicine, integrative health. And that's what led me down the path to where I am today.
Awesome. I love that so much. What a beautiful blessing that you were able to find the functional provider and like get things shifted from that more like natural root cause approach. What do you feel like looking back, like what do you feel like was different about the way that you got care from that provider versus the way you were getting care um and like going through those losses? Like so sorry for all of your losses. And like
Thank
I've
you.
actually talked about miscarriage with like a couple different fertility experts on this podcast. And I feel like in going through my own loss, like the way that it is approached in a traditional setting versus the way it's approached in a functional setting is like totally different. Can you speak a little bit about that and what your experience was with that?
So, yeah, I mean, when I first met with the doctor, he really talked a lot about inflammation and, food, what I was putting in my body. And at first I was kind of like, yeah, 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 but when he told me that when we look at labs, conventional kind of looks at a wide range of parameters where functional medicine really shortens that up and looks at a very small parameter. And that just little tweakers can kind of make a big difference in our bodies. So dealing with my regular OBGYN, I had was just about on my third miscarriage, and I had wanted hopefully some medicine, and she had said that the cells from my DNC, my baby was completely normal. There wasn't any abnormalities, and there was no reason to treat any of that, to just go on with life and keep trying to have babies, and so be it. Where the functional medicine provider really sat down and talked to me about the different hormones the different fluctuations. He spent over an hour with me. I didn't feel pushed off. I didn't feel disregarded. I didn't feel like I was made to be crazy. And I didn't feel like I was just a number in the doctor's office. One of the things, unfortunately, is when you do have a miscarriage, and sometimes when it's early on, they kind of shove you right back out to the waiting room where all the pregnant women are sitting, and you're sitting there, with your hopes dashed and just not felt cared for the same way as my functional medicine provider cared for me.
Yeah. So when you had that experience, when you said you were on your third miscarriage, were you 43 at the time?
I was closer to 42, yes.
Okay.
Um,
And so, sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So they were saying like, this is just normal. It's
Yeah.
just normal. And I hear that from like my own clients who've experienced like multiple losses. And then obviously like in conversations in the professional setting where that's kind of like the standard, right? They say, well, like one in three pregnancies end in miscarriage. So like just keep trying. Um, and that leaves people really like, I feel like kind of internalizing that. Well, like if it's if it's one in three miscarriages, it's not like, or one in three pregnancies end in miscarriage. It's not like it's like something that's happening like it's like out there. It's like, okay, there must be something wrong like with me inside. If it's like one, it's like maybe somebody could kind of like not internalize that, but two in a row and then three. So talk to me a little bit about that. Were you feeling like, okay, there
Oh,
must be something wrong with me?
so, well, especially after the second one, and I had to have a DNC, and the doctor came out very enthusiastically, like she was very happy to tell me that they didn't find any abnormalities in my child that they removed, right? So that led me to believe, well, I said to her, well, that's not good news, right? That means there's something wrong with me if there's nothing wrong, because a lot of times they hear, well, it's the cells, it's the DNA, it's bad chromosomes, and sometimes God works this way. And there may be a marginal error or, an understanding for that kind of philosophy, yes. But at the same time, when you're a woman and this is on your heart and the doctor says, there's nothing wrong with the baby, so I'm like, well, then why can't I carry? I'm healthy, why can't I carry a baby? How can I can get pregnant and can't stay pregnant?
Hmm.
And it was when I went to the functional medicine doctor that he told me one of the biggest things was my thyroid. My thyroid was absolutely in the ditch, and he says babies need thyroid hormones to grow. He's like, and you don't have any. So that was one of the things that he looked at. So yes, internalizing it, feeling like my body was denying me that it couldn't do, what it's supposed to normally be able to do. So yeah, it was a very hard time.
Yeah. Gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. Because I feel like that just really like make it helps people feel not alone
Mhm.
because that really is like it's such a common experience, and when we start to like talk about that, it really makes people feel like supported and like okay, maybe it isn't just me and like something's inherently wrong with me. I feel like we get enough of that.
Right, exactly right.
Like we don't need just one more thing. So
Right.
I think, yeah, sharing that is really powerful. So thank you for being so vulnerable with that. And what a blessing. Now you have like, I love that part, the part in the story where like you kind of like you made peace with like not having
Hmm.
like, okay, maybe we're not going to have a baby, and you kind of made peace with it. And then you're pregnant again. And now you have a 9-year-old. Like I
Yeah,
love that so much. That's such a beautiful like just testament to your strength and like God's provision and
correct.
obviously like you were seeing the functional provider during this time, so like obviously there was an element of like optimizing your hormones and your thyroid and all of that, but like Just what a blessing. So cool.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, she
Um,
is our world for sure. So,
yeah, I bet. Yeah. Um, well, tell me now, like I know a little bit more about your work kind of like since then, but I would love for you to kind of walk us through that journey and like when you said like, okay, this is what I want to do, like walk me through that journey a little bit and tell me kind of like how that was shifting from like a traditional nurse practitioner. What, like, where were you working as a traditional nurse practitioner? You were working in what department or what?
uh, I was in I was a hospitalist for a while when I first got out of school.
Uh-huh.
Because now I'm in the middle of it, right? And I'm re realizing this is what I want to do, but I'm like, I gotta finish this. And so hospitalist in an, a big level one trauma. And then I went into primary care home health, which really showed the light because every day I was just writing scripts for, diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure. And I realized that there was a huge commonality with people and how they treated their bodies and how they lived. Being in home health, I went from, you know, million-dollar homes on the water to trailer parks way out, and and so to see the difference in how people took care of their body really showed the light on this, just the simple things of how we eat and the ability of getting good food into our systems. So at that point, once I became a nurse practitioner, I had to find somebody that was going to train me, right? I had to go back to school, and there was no place that did just holistic, just hormones, just thyroid. So I had to do three different certifications to get where I am today.
And what are you certified in now?
So I am in integrative health. I also went to the Functional Medicine Institute Academy for medical providers, and I have taken a 6-month course just on bioidentical hormones. So I have done all three of those certifications. It took me about 2 years
Wow.
extra. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it in t time and money, so but
Yeah.
it's been so worth it. It's so worth it.
And then I'd love to talk about like what you recognized in your own health and then how you now integrate this into your business with like what you were saying before we started recording about the DNA and like how you integrate that into people understand themselves from that perspective.
So one of the things going back to the home health that I noticed, and I didn't know the word for it at the time, but you and I have kind of talked about epigenetics, right? So we have our DNA in our body, but it doesn't necessarily mean that our DNA is going to present itself depending on our environment, our stressors, which is our epigenetics. So somebody who may have access with a little bit more money to good food, better environment, may keep some of the DNA that could rear its ugly head, maybe more at bay than somebody who unfortunately has to skimp a little bit on, what they buy for their food. So kind of what happened to me was when I realized that, I said, why is there such a big difference between people who meditate, go to church, have a cleaner environment, have less stress about how they're going to meet their needs versus people who are just getting by, have to unfortunately eat a lot of processed foods. And then I realized that there was something called epigenetics. So I kind of like to explain it as our DNA is like the wiring in our house, right? We know it's in our house, but we don't, and it deals with the lights, right? So say we have all the wiring for our lights. Your epigenetics are your switch, whether you're going to turn the lights on or off. So the wiring is always there, the DNA. But whether the lights are going to be turned on and off really depends on your epigenetics. And so I kind of took a deep dive into that because I was doing all the right things, meaning like I was eating right, I was exercising, I was trying to optimize my sleep, and about 3 years ago, my mom had gotten pretty sick, and she required pretty much 24-hour care between my dad and I. And I realized that I wasn't handling things, I think, how some other people may handle it. And so I started taking a deep dive into stress response, trauma response, and I came upon DNA and how specifically certain DNA, certain SNPs, and those are singular nucleotide polymorphosis, so SNPs, are on our DNA that literally affect how you handle day-to-day life, how you handle exercise, how you handle certain foods. And so now I have really gone into the DNA epigenetic aspect of holistic health because I now realize that it's not just about optimizing hormones, optimizing thyroid. It really is a mind, body, spirit connection. It's sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, meditation, stress release, your DNA, your food, it's everything, hormones, So it's really incredible how our body is really made and how certain things affect us, for sure.
Mm, so good. I love that so much. Yeah. Um, can you give us an example of a SNP that people probably know what it, just give us people an example of.
So a big one is MTHFR, right? Everyone pretty much has or knows of that, right? So
Yeah.
that is your pathway of being able to help with inflammation, with methylation. And the thing about MTHFR is there are different SNPs on that specific DNA. So some of them can be worse, some of them can be better, but that is one that deals with detoxification. So we what can happen is we can put a lot of, and it doesn't even have to, I shouldn't blame even people who what they put in their food because it's not always just that, right? It's our environment. Think of like since the 70s, there's like what, like 5,000 new like um
Chemicals.
carcinogens that are
Yeah.
out there, right? Like
Yeah.
Roundup, the stuff that's in our couches. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't avoid that. Like, no
Right.
matter what you do, you can eat all organic you want and filter your house all you want, but there's some things that we can't avoid. So it's not always the patient's fault or the client's fault either. Sometimes it's just our environment. We're using plastic. We got microwaves, we got air fryers that
And
stuff that
different
we never.
living like geographically in different locations,
Yes,
right? Like
yes,
there's more
yes.
toxic
Right.
locations.
So, right. So if you have MTHFR, you can have the symptoms of, not being able to cleanse your liver, as well as others. It can cause miscarriages. It can also cause sleepless nights. There's a lot of things that MTHFR can do.
Yeah. I was hoping that you were going to say that one, MTHFR, just because I know that a lot of people know what that is.
Yeah.
So just like when you say SNPs, they're like, what is that? So, yeah, MTHFR, there's so much that SNP can affect, right?
Right.
Like if you don't know if you have it or not, like you could, like you said, be doing all the right things,
Hmm.
right? But still have like a toxic burden that's so high because like you actually can't detox the way that
Right.
you're supposed to, the way your body is designed to because of this genetic SNP,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, so
And
I
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
And so in like with the SNP, I want to let people know too that it's really just a little misread code on your DNA. It's nothing that's like we all have them. It's just the matter which DNA you have this little SNP on. So we call SNPs kind of like the chapters of the book, right? So we got what the DNA, which is kind of like the chapter, and then the SNP is like a little misread word. So instead of like saying and, it might just be an, just a small little misread word on your DNA.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I've never heard of that before.
Some people say recipe, and it says, well, they'll say it says tablespoon instead of teaspoon. It doesn't change the whole recipe, but just enough that it tweaks something,
Yeah,
makes it a little bit more difficult to do its real job.
yeah, or it might taste a little bit
Yeah,
funky.
yeah.
Um, I love what you said before I asked about the snip example about it's more than just like what you put in your body or whatever. It's about like meditation and stress reduction and like it's a whole mind, body, spirit alignment. So I would love to hear like how do you integrate that piece of it with the DNA piece of it and like getting clients to see that it really is more than just a protocol. It's more than just like doing the right things. It's really a whole body, whole person approach, mind, body, spirit. Like what's your take on that? That's a big question.
Yeah. Well, one of another popular SNP is the COMT SNP, the comp SNP, right? And so I have a very, very slow one. I got like the worst one. So, and I shouldn't say the worst. Like I feel relieved that I know this, right? And I think a lot of my patients have felt the same way because they go, I've been doing this way. I know my body's responding this way, and I don't know why, right? So, one of the things with a COMT SNP is that you are very, very deeply feeling, right? It takes much longer for me to relieve stress. It takes what somebody may release sooner, it takes me a lot longer. So then I went down the rabbit hole of our body remembers, right? Our body holds on. It knows, right? Even though subconsciously it may not be in the forefront, our body knows. And
Keeps the
then,
score. Yeah.
yeah, and then as you know, our body and our mind doesn't know the difference between the memory and the real thing, right? So when my mom passed, it was a very traumatic experience for me. And I kept replaying it over and over, and I just kept getting sicker and more depressed and couldn't let it go. So that's when I realized I needed more than what I was doing. So I also integrate that with my patients when I show them if they have the MTHFR, if they have the COMT, because especially people with a slow COMT, they feel like there's been something wrong with them pretty much all their lives because they've been told that they're too much, they're too sensitive, they cry too easy. And when a patient hears it's who you are, it's how God made you, it's so relieving for them, that they feel like they have an answer. And then you learn to accept yourself at a different level because you're not looking any longer at what's wrong with you, right? You now know that it's just how you're made and it's okay. And now you learn the tools to deal with it, whether it's meditation, tapping, prayer, you know, forest bathing, whatever works for somebody, right? And the key is finding what works for that person.
Yeah, I love that. Um, we were talking before we were recording that like both of us have kind of like shifted, obviously from traditional medicine into like a more functional approach, and then even shifted even a little bit more into kind of this like spiritual, like identity, nervous system, like realm, understanding now that like, and I believe this like to my core, that your life is a reflection of your internal environment. Like your external environment, your external reality is a reflection of what's going on inside. And I don't know about you, but like so many of the clients that I deal with every single day have this deep rooted belief about themselves that sometimes they're not even aware of. Like sometimes it
Mhm.
takes like weeks or months even to get them to even like become aware of this. But like I see it usually like the first time I talk to them, I'm like, "Oh yeah, you just don't think you're worthy." And they're like, "What?" Like they like almost don't even like identify with it. But like we know neuroscience has told us that like you have like 60,000 thoughts a day. 90% of those are running on autopilot, and
Right.
so much of our past experiences, trauma, stress, like childhood, upbringing, all of these like previous jobs, previous boyfriends, previous people in our life, society have told us who we are. And we actually have this like deep rooted belief that like I am not worthy. And really like, first of all, identifying that. But
Right.
second of all, like doing, changing that thought, right? Changing that belief and actually integrating it into your being
Right.
is such a big piece of this. So like what you were just explaining about like the DNA thing, like just that reminded me of that because those people have been told, oh, you cry too much, you're too sensitive, you're this, you're that, and you start to like it starts to become a piece of you where you're like, oh, there's something wrong with me.
Hmm.
Like I cry too much. I am too sensitive. So it's like it becomes this, and then where what you look for, you will find. So then you start to see evidence of that all around you.
Right.
And then you actually vibrate at that energy frequency and then you get more of it because
Right.
like attracts like and you start to bring more of it toward you because so I just love I feel like this is such like deep
I was
identity work.
Yeah, it really, well, in a lot of ways, it really is. I mean, I have to say, I was so relieved, and I find that my patients are the same way that, you know, all these years, I mean, I'm 54 years old, and there are still times like something gets said and it triggers from my childhood of Dacia being too much and Dacia being this. And I have to even take a deep breath when I sit here and revisit that because it's, you know, I'm like, why can't I like who I am, right? Why can't I accept who I am? So my patients find that for themselves too when I say it's really okay and it is who God made you. It's who you are. And I think a lot of people, like you say, kind of too, they look for their reasons, for why they have some of the problems that they have or the issues that they have. And one of them also for me was, I couldn't lose weight no matter, what I did. And everyone was like, work harder, work out more. And when my mom died, it was keep busy. Whatever you do, keep busy. And you know what my body needed? The exact opposite. And it wasn't until I sat my butt down, I meditated, I prayed, I took healing soft walks that all of a sudden my body started releasing. I stopped listening to the noise of what I'm supposed to do out there and really found what my body needed, listened to it, and I started getting the results that I wanted. It's just, it's almost that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so like tuning out the noise is such a hard piece, right? Because
Hmm.
we live in this I talk about this a lot is like this like 2025 in this age of like social media and here we are like on opposite sides of the country connecting on Zoom and fluorescent lights and notifications and our schedules are like jam-packed with meeting after meeting after meeting or like to do after to do after to do and like we're almost like inundated,
Yep,
not almost like we
we
are
are. We
like
are.
inundated
Hmm.
like sensory input and it's really, really hard sometimes to
Yep,
tune out that noise.
yep. To put it down, to walk away, to take a breath, to read a book, whatever it is, but I found my body resisted the harder I worked, the bigger and unhappier I got.
Mm,
And I just knew that there was a different way.
mm.
And that's, kind of how I started really going down that rabbit hole of all of that, DNA and epigenetics and it's fascinating that you can have a set of twins and you put them in two different environments, they have two different lives, but their DNA can be exactly the same. So there's definitely real science behind it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What a powerful like journey and story that is for people to just like see themselves in your story. I think it's so relatable for people. Um, for the woman who's listening right now, who does see herself in your story, and maybe there's grief and loss, maybe there's, pregnancy loss, maybe there's the weight gain that you can't seem to stop or decrease, like whatever it is. What are some like practical, what would you say are like practical, tangible tips that she can do today to start improving her life?
Well, it really, to think about where I was. So I was in a pretty stressful spot. And there wasn't much during that time that I felt could calm me. I tried, tapping, tried meditating. Sometimes the meditating, I'd close my eyes and I would just see and hear my mom, and so I couldn't do that for a while. But I found for me, and I find for most, if you can lace up your shoes and get out with nature, walking is one of the best things that we can do for ourselves. And sometimes I would take a 3-mile walk and I'd cry the whole way one way and the whole way back. But we need to release energy, right? And I find that if you can find a way that works for you to release your energy, whether it's walking, bike riding, um, reading was a big thing that helped me. Those are all things that you can do kind of spare of the moment, doesn't cost much money. If we have somebody that is very busy with their lives with kids and feels overwhelmed, sometimes I feel like adding tasks to them is more overwhelming for them. But if you can find a way, like I said, to get a walk in, to get up 15 minutes, 10 minutes earlier and just get outside and put some sun to your face, that makes a big difference. And I'm a big proponent for making sure you're hydrated. Drinking water is very important for not only your body, but your mental clarity. Um, so those are a couple of things off the top of my head that I feel are gentle because that's what I felt like I needed at the time. I needed gentleness, and those things are not hard on your body, but very good for your mental health.
Yeah, I love that. I think that so many people need gentleness. We don't even know how to be gentle with ourselves
Right.
anymore. That's it's this constant like inundation with like
Hmm.
input, and people don't know how to be gentle with themselves. So I love like just going for, and it doesn't have to be, notice how like Dacia didn't put like a time, like you have to go walk for 30 minutes or 10,000 steps or this, like, can you go for, like, can you walk around your
Yep.
street? Just walk around your street like one time. How can 5 minutes be enough for right now? If your day is so packed that you can't get 5 minutes in, like that's like kind of actually like a whole nother conversation.
That's right.
Maybe we need to talk about like loosening up your schedule a little bit,
Right.
but like, can you commit to just 5 minutes? How
I
can
know,
that be enough?
right. And I know it sounds cliche, but when you're like I was at the point, and if you're at that point, if somebody is at that point, you can't afford not to. You really can't. Like I got to the point where I couldn't afford not to, you know? So, you just have to make yourself, and when people say you have to make yourself a priority, I don't mean you have to make yourself a priority for 24 hours. Make yourself a priority for 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes. That's it. You'll
Yeah.
be surprised if you just go out and sip your coffee on the porch, out in the sunlight.
Yeah. So like our bodies and like our minds and are just craving that gentleness and that
Hmm.
self-compassion and self-love. And by like withholding that for, I mean, sometimes decades, like
Hmm.
it's no wonder that you feel terrible, right? It's like you're gonna feel terrible if you're withholding that gentleness and that self-compassion from yourself.
Right.
And we are with ourselves 100% of the time. You never get a break. So like
Right.
it makes sense that like we have to learn to give that to ourselves, and we deserve it too.
Yes.
And this isn't from a place of like arrogance or
Yep.
self-indulgence or like, you know,
Right.
I'm going to put myself above all else. Like that's not what it is. It's like just making yourself a priority for just a couple minutes a day can
Right.
actually like that's the one baby step, the one micro action that you can implement today and just be consistent with it, because your nervous system, your body, your metabolism, your mind body connection like thrive in consistency. So how can you like make that one small micro action a part of your routine consistently for the next like 30 days and then see how you feel, and then you can start building on that
Yes.
if you have the capacity to do that. So
Right. That's exactly it. Little, I mean, little pieces, day by day, minute by minute, sometimes second by second. And, you find that slowly but surely things start to shift and you just flow with that. You know what I've realized? I wasted so much of my time rushing to get the body I wanted, the mind I wanted, the job. I mean, and it was really in the letting go
surrender.
that I found it. That, it's
Yeah.
crazy. But I
Yeah.
was, and when we ta and how we started this conversation, when you said I surrendered about having a baby, and then there she was, you
Mhm.
know? So sometimes it really is in just letting it be and letting it happen.
That's so relatable, because I feel like that's so much of this technological age. Again, it's like we have this idea, our society, humanity has like this idea that I'll be happy when I get the job, I get the baby, I get the spouse, I move to a different location, I do this, I'll be happy when. And that when actually never comes, because happiness isn't something to be achieved. It's actually something it's like a revelatory experience where you realize like it's actually inside of you. Everything that you have is actually inside of you. And it's just tapping into that and like reestablishing that mind body connection, which I love. Like walking, you can actually drop into your body and actually feel something in your body. It's really a somatic experience when you're walking using both sides of your brain, and you can actually like reestablish that connection, which we're so disconnected from.
Right.
Oh
Right.
my gosh, we
Yep.
could go on and on.
We could, just take your shoes off and stand in the grass and put your palm on a tree. 3 minutes. You don't even need five. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I would have to cheat and I'd be like, oh, Mother Nature, just give me what I need today.
Yeah.
And it's true. The ions are there. They'll go into your body. They will help you. So you're right. We
Yeah.
could go on and on. So, but
The hippies, they hug a tree, right? They had it right.
they did. They did.
Awesome, Dacia. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it was my absolute pleasure. I felt like the wait was worth it. This was great. I really loved talking with you, Melissa. And I love like-minded anyway, so it's awesome.
Yeah. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, you can find me on my Instagram. My professional is Dacia Woessner NP, and they can just message me right now. I have more of a brick and mortar place, but I'm hoping to reach out virtually some more. So you can just find me there and just give me a quick message or DM, and I'll reach back to you if you're interested in, connecting with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for being here. What a pleasure. If this episode resonated with you or you found value in it, please share it, like it, leave us a review, share it with a friend who needs it, and see you on the next episode.
Bye, everybody.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Holistic Health with Melissa. It is such an honor to have you here. If you found value in today's episode, would you share it with a friend who might need it too and leave us a review? If you have questions or topic suggestions, reach out on social media or visit our website, holistichealthbymelissa.com, and take care. I'll catch you on the next episode.